Is it just me, or does the X look more like a Predator than the actual Predator? What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Initiator Pack colorway of the Adidas X 18.1. One of the best speed boots on the market right now, one of my personal favorite options from the Adidas brand, and in a colorway that I think looks absolutely fantastic. Because of the way Adidas has structured their different lines, when you're talking about their top-end models, it's always a question as to whether or not you should buy the Laceless 18 Plus or the laced 18.1 variation. And in the case of the X18, from the very beginning, I have been adamant that I thought that the 18.1 was the better version if you're looking for the best possible Adidas branded speed boot. Now, what was kind of controversial when they first launched the X18 is that most pros were wearing the 0.1 and not the laceless 18 Plus model, except for one, probably the biggest name promoting the X line at the time, Salah, who came off a pretty incredible season wearing the X17 Plus Pure Speed. He was wearing the laceless X18 Plus and did so for quite a while. He wore them during the World Cup and basically up until very recently, where he decided to make a switch back into the 18.1, the laced version of the boot. I want to talk about why I think he's done that in today's video, and of course go over all the details of what I think is just an excellent boot overall in the form of the X18.1. So if you want to learn more, including how these fit and feel on feet, please stick around and watch the whole video. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. If you guys do end up enjoying the video, please support it with a like. That would be excellent. And if you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Included with the boots is a black and white Adidas box and nothing else. Starting with the Initiator Pack, for some reason, the string bag that you used to get, you no longer get. I don't know why, I don't know if it's coming back, but as of right now, no string bag. So very quickly, just to take a closer look at the colorway, I really like these. I'd go as far as to say this is my personal favorite color of the X18.1 so far. If Adidas had the My Adidas customization option for this boot, this is honestly something that I think I would come up with. It's got a black base to the upper, but something that you can't really see in the pictures that you definitely notice in person, and hopefully in this video, is that it's got this really subtle gold sparkle to it that just looks absolutely fantastic. You can see the underside, kind of the in-between areas of the speed mesh, is white, which I think just shows off the mesh design in a very subtle way. I like the look of that. It's got white Adidas stripes, and then of course red across the top of the foot with the exposed mesh, the collar, the heel area, with the sole plate being black at the front, white at the back. It really is the classic black, red, and white color combo. It looks good on just about everything. And I think the way they did all the different colors on this boot in certain areas just looks fantastic. Big fan of these, but let me know what you guys think of the look down below in the comments. So here's a brief history lesson on Salah's recent boot situation. The most successful year of his career, he wore the X17 Plus Pure Speed, now the old generation X model. That boot had the big lace cover on top with the lacing system underneath. A lot of people seem to think that that was a laceless boot even to this day, even though the laces are just underneath. You can't see them. It doesn't mean that they aren't there. And I can assure you that the boots Salah wore did in fact have a lacing system just like the retail pairs. Now, right before the World Cup, Adidas launched the new X18 generation, which consisted of a laceless 18 Plus and a laced 18.1. We saw most pros wearing the old generation X switch into the new one almost immediately. And most of those pros ended up wearing the X18.1, the laced version of the boot. However, probably the most high-profile guy out of everyone wearing the X boots, the Adidas endorsed athlete Salah, decided to wear the laceless version, and he did so for quite some time, up until very recently, where he decided to make a switch back into the 18.1. And I shouldn't say back, because it's the first time he's been wearing the 18.1, which I think kind of explains what this situation is all about. Now, I've been saying this from the beginning, that the 18.1 is objectively a better speed boot than the laceless X18 Plus, and that has everything to do with these simple strings running across the top of your foot. Put these on, tie the laces tight, the upper wraps your foot more closely and secures your foot more tightly inside of the boot. So not only is the fit gonna be better, not only is the fit gonna be tighter, the boots are also gonna be a lot more locked in and responsive on your feet, which is ultimately the main characteristics that you would want from anything that is being labeled as a speed boot. And I would assume Mo Salah would want something very similar. And that's not to say that the X18 Plus is a bad boot, but when you're talking about lockdown and objective performance, it's not better than the X18.1. So getting back to Mo Salah, here's my theory. Leading up to the launch of the X18, as we see before the launch of any brand new boot, we saw lots of pros in training wearing blacked out variations of the X18 Plus and the X18.1 before they actually came out. Whether they were prototypes or close to the final version, obviously Adidas was using their big name pros to get some kind of feedback on the boot that they were working on and eventually would release. Now looking back at all of those spy shots that we saw of pros in training, Mo Salah was always pictured wearing the laceless variation of the X18, the X18 Plus. So it wasn't too much of a surprise when the boot officially came out that he was still wearing the laceless version, the X18 Plus. What we did not see in any of those spy shots was him testing out the laced version of the boot, which we did see from other pro players, Gareth Bale probably being the most notable of all of those big name pros within the Adidas brand. So this is what I'm more or less assuming. He wore the X18 Plus, the laceless version of the boot, not because he was forced to. I assume that he really liked them, and I can assure you that the boots that he has been wearing and is still wearing are custom made to the exact shape of your feet, which would matter a lot when you're talking about a laceless construction. But what I think happened is very recently, he decided to give the 18.1 a try and realized, oh my gosh, this is a lot better than what I'm currently wearing. So he decided to start wearing the X18.1 instead of sticking with the laceless X18 Plus that he's been wearing over the last several months. So all of that to say that Mo Salah has most likely made the switch because he prefers the feel of the X18.1, or he just watches my videos maybe, but probably not. Now getting back to the X18.1, a lot of people want to compare these to the Nike Mercurial line, either the Vapor or the Superfly, and I'm not sure that it's the best comparison because this doesn't really have that kind of, I don't want to say stiff, but firmer overall feel. It's not quite as raw, it's not quite as responsive. It's a different style of speed boot, but still offers a lot of the speed boot elements that I think a lot of people would like. What I like about this boot is this speed mesh upper. It's very soft. It's thin. I don't want to say that it doesn't provide a barefoot feel, but there's definitely a padding to this upper that you would not get with something like a Nike Mercurial. So if you want a true barefoot sensation, maybe this isn't for you, but if you like something thin with a little bit of softness to it, you'll really like the feel of this upper. The lacing system, I think, makes the world of difference in regards to overall lockdown. I don't care for this extension piece here at the top, but honestly, it's not something that you really notice when playing in the boots at all. Aesthetically, I happen to think that it's a very good looking boot. I think that this has arguably the best or one of the best heel liners in the business right now, with this synthetic suede lining, these two large bumps, and then this extra grip dot texturing there on the surface. Lockdown and overall comfort, I think, is excellent. The boot is also a lot more flexible and just, again, softer when compared to the Nike Mercurials. They are quite light, although not quite as light as Mercurials. Those are a little bit lighter. And of course, it has the classic sprint frame construction that they no longer call a sprint frame, but instead call, what do they call it? Because I forgot the name. It's now a speed frame. So it's faster than the sprint frame because it's now speed instead of sprint. Anyways, it's a plastic construction, good flexibility, and pretty much the same stud pattern that we see across the board from Adidas and have been seeing since 2010. However, for whatever reason, this one just feels that little bit more aggressive than what we had before. So I've swapped out the stock red laces for some black reflective SR4U replacement laces that obviously accent really nicely with the black you have for the majority of the upper. It adds the reflective bits, which always look cool, and it makes your boots that much more unique versus everyone else that has the exact same colorway. So if you're looking to change up the style of your boots in a relatively inexpensive way, SR4U laces are a great way to do that. They're available at www.sr4ulaces.com, which will be linked down below in the description of this video. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, I find the X18.1 to be one of the more comfortable boots out of the box from the Adidas brand. The speed mesh upper is soft and flexible, but at the same time relatively thin, does not have a plasticky sensation in any way at all. The heel liner, like I talked about earlier, I think is one of the best in the business. Really, really comfortable out of the box and really solid lockdown overall. And the overall fit of the boot, while it's a speed boot, you expect it to fit very tight. It doesn't have a super tight kind of squeeze your foot type fit like a Nike Mercurial would. So something to be aware of. That's more of a personal preference thing. But as a whole, I think the boots fit really, really well, especially once you tie the laces tight. As far as width is concerned, this is probably one of the wider options from the top end models on offer from Adidas right now. But obviously with the laces tied, you can still get that nice snug fit. So as long as you don't have super wide feet, these will fit most people. Although keep in mind, because of the cut of the upper and the one-piece design, putting them on can be a little bit tricky if you have really wide feet. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, the X18.1 is a really, really good option if you're looking for something in the speed boot category. I'm not really a speed boot guy in regards to what I like to wear, but if I had to pick something from the speed category, it would end up being the X18.1. And a lot of that has to do with the overall simplicity and general comfort that you get straight out of the box with the X18.1. The upper is thin as you would want, but also has that softness and padding that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a speed boot. It's still responsive, it's still lightweight, the traction is still really aggressive. In a lot of ways, it doesn't necessarily match up as closely to the Nike Mercurials as you perhaps might expect, but it's also a very different experience in regards to the Mercurials, where again, I would actually prefer to wear this over a Nike Mercurial based on being somebody that likes something to be a little bit softer, a little bit more flexible, and a little bit more comfortable. If that's you, then I can strongly recommend the X18.1. Anyways, guys, that is it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.